Welcome back to the 27th Annual SAA Auto Outlook Conference. Coming up, we're going to hear remarks from Mr. Anders Tlyman-Mikiewicz, General Manager of the Concept and Monitoring Center at Volvo.
I will tell you a story about how Volvo has responded to a lot of change that we see in the luxury car segment. And change sometimes happens fast, sometimes it happens slow. I think we as an industry, as several speakers have concluded today, we are now in a moment of more fast change than we're used to. It's fast because there's a number of change themes, if you will, that are coinciding. You have technology moving faster than ever. You have large consumer group shifts, like we've discussed today. So from the baby boomer generation to the generation of the millennials. You also have new markets exploding, essentially, which has been China for most luxury brands. So there is a lot of change going on. At the same time, we as a company have experienced a lot of change internally, which is then what sort of led us down this path of finding out what we think are the best ways to meet and respond to the major change themes that we see. So this is a quote from our two founders, and I don't think it's surprising to any one of you. It says that cars are driven by people, and that the guiding principle behind everything we make at Volvo, therefore, is and must remain safety. This is what we have become known for, and we've been building on this sort of path for 80 years. And one of the expressions of this is that we decided in 2007 to announce a vision to the outside world. It was Vision 2020, where we concluded that we believe in a future around 2020 where no one should get seriously killed or injured. And what we see is that with the advancement of active safety technology, we're on a very clear path towards that future. Which also poses an interesting question, because it essentially means that safety, while remaining an important purchase factor, might become a factor that is really expected in the future. And this, together with a change of ownership and a new strategy for our company, sent us down a path where we start to look for what does Volvo really do next, and how do we meet our consumers' needs in the future in a way which is still true to our founder's statement and our core strategy, but really expands into and makes Volvo more relevant to more luxury car consumers. And what we did was essentially that together with our executive management team, we zoomed in on the first part of the founder's statement, which is the cars are driven by people. And we saw a number of reasons for why this was a very interesting part of our statement to zoom into. First of all, we've been true to that in many areas outside of safety, so we felt that was part of the core of the brand. But we can also see more and more reasons for why sort of human-centric design is something that will really differentiate brands going forward. I just came back from CES. And you can see now a number of pretty heavy publications posing questions post-CES around technology. We see the birth of wearables. We see the birth of the integrated home. And I think what a lot of people are now starting to ask is that just more technology, or is it really technology that helps us to improve our lives? And we think and believe that also talking to customers, that this is really something that we are a point of differentiation going forward. It's not so much what you do with technologies, it's how you do it and how you use that to cater to human needs. This is why we've chosen to take that first part of the sentence and really make it into a corporate strategy, which is built around 3 pillars. So it's about the promise of understanding you, protecting, still part of the Volvo brand, but also making you feel special. Many speakers have been talking about today that it's really, you can see the major technology shift in the industry. We also talked about experiences, which are becoming increasingly more important to millennials, but also to how baby boomers spend money, because millennials influence baby boomers. And it's really with this strategy that we sort of ventured forward with the major investment of $11 billion that we put into our future products. And to be true to this strategy, we really started at the consumer end. We spent an enormous amount of time and money and resources to understand both American but also global luxury car consumers. And we've asked them really about questions about what they love about luxury cars, and also what's broken with luxury cars, what they love about their lifestyles, and what they would like to see improvements in their lifestyles. And it turns out that the answers are pretty straightforward, and they really zoom in on 4 areas. Design being one of them, and it has been mentioned today as a key area of differentiation going forward, also for the millennials. So that's not really changing, it's maybe becoming even more important in an increasingly saturated world. Powertrains and how you sort of, what the car actually means to you, both from a driving experience point of view, but to your social sort of footprint. That's another area. The user experience in the car, the digital user experience. And how that weaves into the connected society. And last but absolutely not least is the area of driver support and so semi-autonomous driving and autonomous driving, and what that means to consumers. I don't think that any of these 4 areas are any surprise to you. A lot of other competitors talk about them, and we all do work around them. But I think it's how we approached it and the insights behind what we did that really makes Volvo stand out in this particular field. Starting with design, it's very clear that if you the design, luxury cars have to look amazing, and people have to be very emotionally appealed by design, and that of course means great proportions, which give our designers a good prerequisite. It means that all technologies that help designers to create better designs, more interesting designs are interesting. You of course have things like headlights, etc. evolving, and that's really a given more and more. Even though the actual design expression is a point of differentiation, the fact that companies invest so much in design and the design has to be perfected is being really taken for given. Very much also driven by the consumer electronics industry, where Apple is probably the company that has shown the world that having great design in your everyday life really means something. It's not only about the surface, it's about how you experience a product. However, having said that, it's also very clear to us that when you listen to consumers and the values, and this is especially important for millennials, is that there has to be more substance, something that matters. It's not only about buying a logo or buying a product that very clearly sort of puts you into a box in society. And when it comes to powertrains and how cars are being propulsed, we see that there is still something about performance. I mean, that's one of the key reasons why people really love luxury cars, and even though very few of us use the performance to sort of its maximum, it's the feeling and the notion that is there that really creates a luxury experience. However, with that in mind, it's also very important, and especially if you look at the millennial generation, that this performance has to be delivered in a way which sort of also gives you a peace of mind and makes you feel like you're doing your own bit. And so the idea of compromising between having a sort of a guilt-free luxury experience and being able to tap into performance, I think that's really seen as broken for consumers. And this is why with the new XC90, but really with the entire architecture that we've designed for our next generation of cars, from the beginning we've built them around the idea of plug-in hybrids becoming a big part of the Volvo propulsion strategy going forward. And offering this no-compromise solution to how cars are given the performance is something that we really see will strongly resonate with the US market. There's been a great success for us in the European market. I think a company like Tesla has really shown that there is something to be said about electrification and amazing performance. When it comes to the user experience, I would rather focus in what's common between generations rather than what's different between generations, because great user experiences don't really differentiate between generations. The 1.5-year-old to the left he's born into a great UX experience.